There, Brian. Okay. What's, you want to, could you get Rick in here? He's talking to the, I guess we'll start with him. Okay, welcome everybody to the, yeah, you got him? Town Board, looking to get Rick. Rick is in. Town Board meeting of April 12, 2022, and roll call.
Councilman Tom Devaney.
Here.
Councilman Paul Valentine.
Here.
Councilman Jerry Vitari.
Here.
Councilman Brian Donahue.
Here.
Supervisor Teresa Kenny.
Here, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. And we'll let Mr. Valentine lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we have a couple of announcements. The deadline to order or renew your military tribute banner will be Friday, April 15th, of 2022. Please email supervisor@orangetown.com for details. The sooner the better, because the good spots are being taken up quickly. We're having our Town of Orangetown Blood Drive on April 21st. It's the Thursday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. in the new courtroom here. Carmel, they're allowed to just walk in, but do they prefer? Yeah, okay. The Orangetown Historical Museum is going to be having an open reception for the new project that they have. It's the Orangetown Memory Project, so that's April 23rd from 2 to 4 p.m. Everyone's invited. April 30th, one of our hot events of the year is our shredding event hosted by the town clerk. That's from 8 a.m. to 11:30 on April 30th. And we just ask that you bring a non-perishable food item for donation to the local food pantries. Okay, so now we have a couple of presentations. We're going to start with Jim Dean and the Sparco Commuter Parking Facility Project.
Thank you. I think this is set up. I'm not sure I'm supposed to. What do I push? Sorry. Thank you. Stefan is keeping me on track. So we have been talking about this again, the proposed parking facility in Spark Hill, actually taking place of the downtown parking that we're having now around the monuments and the playground and now the rail trail. We started back in 2007, I think, Councilman Valentine was part of the original meeting we had there. That is true. And what happened is we found that that meeting initially came to us in 2006. And basically, we found that the commuters were coming in at 5 o'clock in the morning and taking up all the spaces in Park Hill. We found that out two ways. One, a couple of business people came to us and made that comment that their customers don't have any place to park because it's filled up before they get there. And there has never been any parking meters or anything in Spark Hill. It's just been, you pull in and park wherever you like. We found out also from our own operation that we sweep in our business areas 2 times a week, usually in the summertime. And we got to a point where we couldn't get in there because there was always somebody parked there. We had to come in earlier if we wanted to sweep. By 4:30, the spaces were locked and we couldn't get in there. And what's actually happened in addition to that now, the playground that we have down there, I know you don't talk to Eric about it, it gets a lot of use, and it's been substantially more with the rail trail, because it is a point where a lot of people come to park to get on the rail trail. So there's always been competition for the spaces. March 2008, the county actually put together an the town put together an Orangetown Commuter task force to try to find locations in Orangetown where we could build a commuter park. We don't really have anything like that. The county transportation has been looking for a long time to try to find something, but there just is no property available in Orangetown to be able to do that. We don't have throughway extensions or roadway parkways, where there's actually available space. So that committee actually started, I believe, in March, had a number of meetings, and in June 8th, actually, after their analysis, believed that the best place to put a parking lot would be with a piece of property that was offered to the town by the American Legion, by the John M. Perry Post. It's right next to the existing baseball field that they have there. It's a property that's been filled in, I think, since when they built the parkway. One of the overburden from the parkway was filled in along that area. And that's been the place that we've been focusing on in the town's process of trying to get funding. One, when we started out, we were looking for about $500,000, and the county transportation agreed to help us with that and come up with most of the money. And in fact, the initial survey that we did in Sparco, they did pay for that proposal. So when we came to the site selection for the next site, the town picked up the tab for that. So over the course of years, we did invest in this in studies that were necessary to be able to get the federal and state funding to build this lot. So we've gone through all the processes that need to be able to get the money. We were close at one time, and then the money dried up. State used it for other projects, and we kind of got on hold. And then we started back again because the county transportation department has identified additional monies that they have locked in now that we could use to build the parking lot. So in 2014, we did the survey work and had the wetlands delineated. November of 15, town board declared itself a lead agency. 2020, we completed the design in-house. Our engineering department did that. We had savings of about $75,000 for the town. We had to go out and hire a consultant. We appreciate that. So basically, that's where we are now. We still have the issue with parking in Sparco because there is no place else for the commuters to go. But we've been working with the county on the idea that we would build a commuter parking lot opposite the Legion, next to the ball field, on 303 or 4 in Sparco. It's actually right at the corner of where the Palestinian State Parkway crosses under 340. Right now, they have a parking lot in front of their ball field, and this would be adjacent to that. On property that's been there, anything that we would be doing would be grading and improving the property. We're not filling, we're not digging anything out. It's property that's been there for quite some time. We're having the same problem now that early in the morning, commuters start coming in and park. The numbers are down compared to what we had in the original surveys that we did in 15 and 16. But we believe that's because of COVID, because up until COVID hit, we had 40 to 50 cars parked in there every day, filled up by 8 o'clock in the morning. People get on the bus because there's a bus stop there that eventually takes them into New York City. And then usually they're back by the end of the day, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and they leave there. One of the comments that we've had over the years from the businesses is it does not generate business to Sparco. It just takes up space. People go in the morning, get in the car and go, come back, and go home. And they don't go to a restaurant. problem we have is when that does fill up, many times people will spill over into the adjacent streets and leave their car. So if we don't have it posted for parking, we have an issue with that. That's not unique to Spark Hill. We've had this in our other towns, Pearl River and through St. Spring, and what we've had to do is go to neighborhoods and post no parking so the commuters do not leave their cars. And what's happened is a lot of them have been chased from Palisades, and Pearl River, wound up finding this spot. So we did a recent count. We had 31 cars last week there in that parking area. And 17 of them were from the town of Orangetown. The rest were either another township or I think it was 3 from New Jersey. So a substantial amount of people that are there are from Orangetown. There are residents looking for a place to park. We came up with a number for the parking lot of 47 because that's what we can fit in that particular space and still meet all the requirements for stormwater control and pollution prevention. So we would have 47 spaces available. A lot of background here. The issue there is that most of the parking that's down there is actually on park property. Because when that property was transferred over to the town, it was transferred as parkland. So there's some competition on how you can actually use park property. So to make it a commuter parking lot is a concern. I know Eric has talked about it, and some of the local residents, actually people involved in the initial study to try to find a location in Orangetown have commented on that specifically. So the proposal is that the parking would be at the lot that we mentioned, it holds 47 spaces. The bus will be able to drive in, turn around in there, and pull out, no maneuvering, and go back the way it came on 9 There will be a bus stop lighted there. There will be lighting in the parking lot, and there will be a fence installed that would protect the cars from baseballs coming out of the ball field into the parking area. The parking for commuters would be Monday through Friday or normal commuter hours. And in order to get that, what we'll be looking at is developing a permit process. First come, first served, and we make a term for what the permit is to help pay for the maintenance and to actually know who can go into that parking lot. Outside the commuter hours, it would be available for the Spark Hill Legion, it would be available for the baseball and any other events that are going on down there, depending on how the town sets it up. But with the funding that we're having, that we're getting, the town, right now, I believe, will have the ability to do that. So this is what we anticipate the issues would be, the useful time would be. We do think that it should be, require a permit, and it should be on a first come, first served basis for who gets the permit. Because of the funding, we cannot limit it only to Orangetown residents because of the funding source. Kind of went through that. We'll give you the paperwork. I don't think you want me to read that whole thing to you. You know, we had a meeting down there, and issues came up about the amount of traffic that this would cause. We did the counts on where people live, but we cannot get addresses. We can't get that kind of information. But I would propose that some of the people that are going to the parking lot now in downtown are riding on that road anyhow to get there. And maximum, if it was to fill up, the maximum you would have is 47 cars.
the average tracking on that street that the state had was about 15 or 1,600 each way per day, which is not unusual for that type of a state road. This road out here takes 12,000 cars a day. West Washington Avenue and Pearl River takes 10,000 cars a day. Route 303 by us gets 19,000 cars a day. So put it into some kind of perspective. So these buses would be going into the parking lot just to pick up commuters, and that's the only time they would go there, for the commuter hours in the morning and the community hours at the end of the day. There still will be a coach's 9T bus going out of downtown Spark Hill for the kiss and ride. People drop off or people walk, and there's more and more of that happening down there. To the bus, that will still be available. But specifically for commuters, that's what the other parking lot would be dedicated to. The buses are not going to be parked there, they just drive in and out and pick up. We don't think that it's going to create a really heavy load of additional traffic on that roadway. So the Spark Hill American Legion post, early on when we were going through the process of trying to find a location, came forward and said, you know, we have this space, you could use it. And frankly, there was no other space available. One other thing we did look at was the Tolman Park. Difficult because there's no lighting up there. We'd have to work through the state to get it. And it's kind of isolated and not really a great place to be dropping people off, just because it's so secluded up there. But other than that, other properties were just not available. So we do have a tentative letter of agreement with the American Legion that they would lease the property to the town of Orangetown for 20 years, and that's what will be required for us to get the funding. And the Little League and the American Legion understand what the project is. They've been very much in favor and supportive of utilizing this for the public benefit. We've met all the environmental standards that were required. In order to get the federal funding, we had to provide all these different surveys and investigations, and we've gone through that process. Everything's in place, so there would be no issue with that. It's not in the 100-foot flood. It's not in the floodplain. In fact, it's 100 feet outside the buffer, so it doesn't require any additional information being supplied, because it's not a critical area, and it's not something that has just been filled in. It's been filled in for over 50 years. So that's kind of a picture of it, but it will be a pull-in and pull-out, and at the all the way at the far left, that's the stormwater facility. So any water that's generated from this new lot will go in there and be metered out into the wetlands. It'll actually certainly not put any more water in, because there's a hard-packed area there right now that just runs into the wetlands. Any questions?
Are we going to have meters down in the depot or not?
That would be up to the town. We do not have a parking district there.
I guess-
We actually do not have a parking district anyplace except Pearl River.
Then I guess the question then is, why would I not park down there and pay for a permit if I can park down the depot?
Because, I mean, there are different recommendations, 2 to 3 hour parking, 3 to 5 hour parking, like we do in the areas in Pearl River where we don't want commuters to park, we post that. And if somebody goes over that time, the police issue summonses. So the side streets, a lot of the side streets in Pearl River adjacent to the business district don't allow more than 2-hour parking. That's to prevent people from just leaving their cars. But the concept that was discussed here was that people do come, they want to ride their bikes, they want to play in the playground there, they want to exercise, they want to go for dinner or lunch. So 2 to 3 hour parking, or 3 to 5 hour, probably would be something that you'd have to do. Because if we don't do it, people will park there.
So you control it through signage and parking?
Yeah, and enforcement.
Okay.
But I think if they have the other facility to go to, they'll go there. And then hopefully we'll take the burden off there.
So, Jim, with the, because that's a really wet area, right? The houses are far away, but even those houses that are far away, if you go on a big rainstorm, you could see you could barely see their chain link fences that are almost covered with water. And this won't add any water to it? You did all the engineering and made sure that this isn't going to read down and flood those houses any more than they already have a problem?
Yes. You could talk to Eamon about it. They did the design. They're assuring us they know that it's not going to add more water to the flood stage. The flood stage will still happen, but when you visualize where we're proposing the parking lot, it's the same that's there now. So, and it's been there since they built the parkway. So it's not closing in any additional land that's not already closed in. And nobody's digging that out to make more room. It's getting used, as overflow now for the Legion.
Have you discussed what the yearly lease is going to be? How much to the Legion?
Yeah, we originally, 3 years ago, had an agreement, I think, for $17,000 a year, which should be reimbursable through the transportation department.
And then what would be the permit fee? Do we know yet, or no?
No, we determine that. There will be funds available for the maintenance of it also, I believe, through the transportation department, as the other park and rides are around Rockland County. Their local municipalities do it, but they get reimbursed.
Do we have any numbers or any idea how many people or what is being used for the people of Orangetown?
Yeah, well, initially, when we did the original counts, we had 50 people, 49 to 50 cars. Originally, about 85% were Orangetown residents. Now we're looking at, we had 31 last week. That's definitely impacted by COVID because it was much less than that last year. But as people are coming back, they're going to fill it up again. The percentage that we had out of 31 this time was 17 people from Orangetown out of the 31.
How many
Yep.
spots are at the depot?
We've counted 49 to 50 cars. It's not there are no spots. We
Well,
don't have
well,
parking.
so
I mean,
50
that's, people pull in there.
Yeah, it's
We don't have designated parking
puzzle.
spots.
yeah.
And part of that is actually the status of the property. Can we really do that?
Jimmy, this is just city only, right? It's just commuting into the city only. There's not other.
Yeah,
local-
basically, that's what that route is, to take people into New York City.
When you get when the decision comes out with the yearly permit, it's going to be yearly permit or monthly? Yearly?
That would be the town's determination, how we want to set it up.
So I know I commuted for a long time, and in Tarrytown, they have 12-hour meters. Back then, you had to put quarters in, but now you can use the apps. If it's beneficial to us to have 12-hour meters where you can actually replenish them with an app, wouldn't that we could probably benefit us?
Yeah, I mean, the town
Monetarily?
board would have to look at that.
Okay.
I think part of the model was, when we did have commuter parking in Pearl River, we had it set up and people could get a permit because they would know then that it was going to be available to them. If we put meters in and people, anybody can come in, then there could be a real challenge for Orangetown people that want to be able to use the lot, but people are driving in from someplace else and taking the spots. And the proximity where it is, it's pretty close to the Jersey border.
Yeah, no. Jim, I just wanted to ask, you said drive in, drive out. Does that mean it will drive in? You gotta make these things bigger, Jim.
Yeah, I know, I'm
Like
sorry.
this, even with the glasses, I'm like,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
so that's okay. So we'll go in one way, it would go around and go out the other way?
Yes.
Okay,
The,
because I wasn't sure if there was a thing in the front.
the commuter traffic will drive in and pick a location. The bus will drive in and come out. And the commuter, it'll be a one-way in, one-way out for all traffic. And it will be separate from the parking that's there now for the Little League.
Can the Little League park on this premise as
After
well?
the commuter hours,
Okay.
not during the commuter hours. The permit will allow the
Maybe we'll let Jim
person
do
who
the-
gets the
do the next
permit
one, and then
the
we'll do-
right to be there. So they're going to have 47 spaces available.
Public portion. Okay. Okay.
Thank
Don't
you.
go too far, though, Jim, you're on for the next presentation, too.
Yeah, I know.
So,
We're going to have to shift this over. You have yours on here.
Jim,
I'm
real
going to be here
quick,
for moral support.
Jim, real quick, what's the next step if the board?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, yeah, that was important. The next step is, if the board agrees to commit to this project, then we bring that to the county, and the county has to get the county legislature to agree. So we need to work on this as soon as we can, so that it's probably going to take two months at the county level. If we move on this, there's still a possibility we could get something going before the end of this construction season. And it's not really that big a project. A lot of it's there. It's a matter of grading, putting in some of the drainage, and I don't think the project is going to take a long time to build out.
Jim, real quick, assuming everything goes well, we can get this pretty much funded for the most part, the whole project, or? am I
Yeah,
right? Okay.
actually, the town has put a lot of money up front now, getting the approvals. So basically, I'm thinking that the budget that we have, if we can get it built in that budget, I don't think there's going to be any additional cost to the town.
Thank you.
Right?
Okay, thanks. On to.
Are we
No.
going to be able to discuss this before you go on to another topic?
No, you can, we will have a public portion where you can get up and speak about whatever you want to speak about, but that's
In this meeting or not in between?
at,
Before we
the-
vote on anything.
Before you vote tonight for this?
no, we're not voting on this tonight. This is just a presentation. But you'll be able to speak before we at all. We have, after they're done with the presentations, we go to a public portion where anyone can speak for up to 3 minutes about anything they feel like. We have the two, but let them get through this. I guess we have the electric vehicle discharging and the no parking up on Middletown Road. No one signed up, so that'll be good.
What time was that?
Yeah, they were 7:05 and,
Okay, so we can go ahead with that.
when you're ready.
Eamon Riley, Commissioner of DEME, along with Jim Dean, Superintendent of Highways. I'm here to present our flood mitigation plan for Villa Drive and Rennie Lane. Villa Drive and Rennie Lane are two locations that have been identified as areas that are prone to flooding. This is an overview of Villa Drive. Just to get your bearings, over here to the left is, get the pointer, is Earhart Road. Villa comes down here through the middle, and on the right is Cara Drive, and it's Town Line Road to the north.
Right.
The drainage area in question is to the west of Villa Drive. This area drains through a ditch that comes from the
southern part here up to the right and ultimately runs underneath Villa Drive through a culvert. It then opens up into a ditch on the east side of Villa Drive and ultimately makes its way down to the Nourishon Brook. This is the existing condition, zoomed in on the culvert that goes underneath Villa. The existing condition is consists of two types of pipe. The first portion is a corrugated metal pipe. It's about 64 linear feet of that, and then another 110 feet or so of 24-inch reinforced concrete pipe. The existing condition is undersized. It gives this area about a level of service of a one-year storm, maybe a hair above it. It's not sufficient for proper drainage in this area. So what we did was we analyzed the current condition and we analyzed three potential alternatives. The first alternative was to replace that entire run of the existing 24-inch pipe, which is both RCP and corrugated metal, with a new 30-inch HDPE pipe. Alternative two was only to replace the 24-inch corrugated metal pipe, keeping the existing reinforced concrete pipe. And alternative three, combined alternative two with lining of the RCP. After doing all of the analysis, we determined that alternatives 2 and 3 did not really increase the level of service sufficiently. The intent there was to come up with a cheaper solution, lowering the friction factor in the pipe to increase flow. It just didn't provide us with what we were looking for. So myself, Jim, Demian Highway, we recommend alternative 1, which is going to be to replace that entire run with a new 30-inch HDPE pipe. We did an engineer's estimate. We're estimating the cost of the project to be around $200,000. That would include contract drawings and the construction of the project. Just of note is that we do not have a easement on that property, so the town would have to acquire an easement. Does the board have any questions on Villa Drive?
How many properties is it going to affect? It's going through residential houses, I'm guessing, right, obviously?
Yes. The immediate area, there's 3 homes to the west of Villa, and there's another 2 on the right-hand side, so there's 5 right in that immediate vicinity. It's just such a low level at a one-year storm that it needs to be upsized.
Are the houses would need the easement from the ones getting flooded? Or is it ones down through?
The ones getting flooded. It runs right through. If I go back a couple of slides here.
So I think they'd be the one that's willing to.
Yes, this basically runs, this is the beginning of it on the west side, the blue line. It runs through this property. This line's a little offset. The actual layout's a hair to the south here. Runs more along the edge of the driveway. It does take a bend and come across over here. So definitely this property here is the property that we would require the easement.
What year storm capacity does that take it to?
The redesign would take us to a 25-year storm. We're kind of limited to that. If we go above that, we start affecting downstream, and we have to start analyzing that. So it gets us to the highest level we can get to without impacting downstream.
Okay.
This is Rennie Lane, just to kind of get your bearings. Rennie Lane is here. Erie Street is to the north. To the west is Van Wyck. South is Blauvelt Road, and this is the South Orangetown Middle School. There's a drainage ditch on the south side of Rennie Lane, and there's also a drainage ditch on the west side of Rennie Lane. They've experienced flooding on Rennie, Erie, Green Hedges, and we had a washout further down on Sunset. That's just a general overview. This is a zoomed-in location of the drainage network on Rennie. Explain this. So this I'll call this the main line coming through. This is a large, it's about 90, I think it's 90 inches by 58-inch concrete pipe that carries significant flow through the South Orangetown Middle School across Erie into a drainage ditch over here. I don't believe that one has a name. Doesn't have a name. This is the drainage ditch on the west side of Rennie, and this is the drainage ditch on the south side of Rennie. The drainage ditch on the south side connects into piping here, which ultimately connects to the main line. And on the west side, this blue line here is where the west drainage ditch connects into a large junction box on the main line. Everything in blue represents existing. The issue that occurs here is that during heavy flows or significant flows, this large junction box starts to surcharge, and you get backflow through this pipe into the west ditch. It causes the west ditch to flood, which continues flooding out into Rennie, Erie, and Green Hedges. What we recommend here, which is a short-term improvement or a short-term fix, would be to eliminate this pipe, either seal it or remove it, and reroute a new pipe from the end of the ditch to the manhole that is located on Erie. What that does is it takes the connection away from the large junction box and helps to minimize or limit the potential of backflow into the ditch. We can maintain pitch going this way, but at a higher elevation, and that's what minimizes the potential for backflow into that ditch. What you see here is a zoomed out satellite image of the overall drainage area. The area in green, if you can see it, I'll try to trace it as best I can. Through this area here is the drainage area that flows into the southern drainage ditch. The area in red goes into that main line that I referenced before, and then ultimately this all goes into the drainage ditch on the east side of Erie and makes its way down ultimately through Sunset into the reservoir. The area in green is the drainage area that goes into that southern ditch. So what we're recommending is to look at the potential of building a detention basin on this southern portion. That would capture everything in green, remove it from the main line during a heavy storm, which would greatly improve the overall drainage in this area for Rennie, Green Hedges, Erie, and ultimately down through Sunset. We would be able to hold back a lot of that rainwater in heavy storms. So what we're recommending at this time is to do a feasibility study at that area to determine the likelihood, ultimately the feasibility of building a detention basin there. We estimate that that's about a $20,000 study. That property that's there is not owned by the town. It's
I was
owned.
just gonna say, is
It's
that the
owned
school
by
district?
the school district. So that would have to be looked at. We haven't looked at existing utilities, soil conditions. So the study would ultimately let us know if this was, if this is feasible or if this is a project that could be successful. Is there any questions on Rennie?
Silly question, backflow example would help with that condition?
On the,
On Rennie, on the first pipe,
no, you have too much,
it's too much.
there's too
force?
much flow coming in. That main line is 90 by 58.
That's a big pipe.
That's a big pipe. And you're flowing heavy to get to that point. So the only thing that we've come up with is to stop the flow from getting there, retain it back in a detention pond or something of that nature.
Yeah, I think one of the issues we're looking at, and we've had issues here before, is everything from there goes north to the Hackensack Creek. So it's going down under Sunset Road and through numerous backyards. The idea of making that whole thing bigger is almost impossible. It's in everybody's backyards. One of the only ways we're looking at that we can provide some kind of relief is to try to capture that, which we've done before, upstream on Cherry Brook, in a property that was Ledley's. We did a feasibility study. They told us, yeah, we can hold back 20 acre-feet, which was enough to reduce flooding substantially downstream. So that's why we think that this would be a good way to look, because otherwise, there is no silver bullet to fix this for the people that were impacted by Ida, and which do get impacted not only by a major hurricane, but when there's a substantial rain.
All right, well, as long as we're discussing this, the board's getting a lot of calls on Kerry Court.
Yeah, I sent an email on that too.
There's, we got the Cherry Brook, water's flowing, it's bottled up, so the water continues to accumulate, and now it's taking down trees, and that's bottling up the water, so it's not flowing, it's stagnant, and significant water over there, so
So put that on your list for the next one.
I can get you numbers, and you can reach out to the people over there.
You've been in touch with them, haven't you? I thought they were emailing.
Yeah, I think we have. We've
Yeah.
been having conversations.
Yeah, it's like I said in the email today, after Ida, we got a bunch of areas, and they just had to prioritize. You can't go out there and.
No,
whatever, so-
well, the question, I
I
guess
did
the
tell them
question
that.
is, who's responsible for maintaining that easement? Is it the town, is it the county?
The town is, we go in and clean it out.
I guess that's one of the things they're
Clean
looking
out.
for.
Well, we're looking at it, and I think that we have been doing that,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure that just cleaning it out solves the problem.
I don't know,
Yeah.
that's just the first step, I guess, but,
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Good, thank you.
all right, thanks.
How much water is flowing through the school property or coming from the school property into that area that's going down into the street of Rennie?
In terms,
In the green area, you have the fields, you have the 2 baseball fields, you have the soccer fields, or 3 baseball fields. Where is that?
Yeah.
Is
Jerry,
that part
that's,
of the-
it's not the school district.
It's not the
that's
school, it's
impacted.
coming up
That
further.
water comes all the way from the Palisades Parkway.
yeah,
Actually, it comes under the parkway from Eisenhower Court.
yeah, so it's hard to tell here, but the area that's shaded in red comes through over here and onto this other side.
See that
That-
parkway?
The parkway here, that whole area has a drainage network that ultimately makes its way into that large, what I call that mainline pipe that runs through the South Orangetown Middle School. So that's a large area, and that's why the pipe, when you get over here, is 90 by 58. That's a large pipe. And
Okay,
to-
so
to-
then once it crosses Erie Street and it goes back in toward the, I guess it's probably Fifth Avenue in
Yeah.
that area, well, if the
See if
school
I can-
doesn't give us area for a retention pit, could a retention pit go downstream further, if there's anything there?
Pretty tight.
Yeah, downstream, you've got a lot of property, there's homes. That's an open ditch pretty much all the way down till you get past Sunset, and then goes into
Into the woods behind
into the
Sunset.
woods and into the woods behind.
And obviously
Sunset.
putting something in the woods
Oh,
behind
You're
Sunset
down,
would be
yeah,
too
down,
late.
you're too late. You need to capture the flow before it gets here. Doing anything downstream of it is not going to
Help anything upstream.
greatly impact, even if you were to make this ditch larger or widen it out to increase that flow, you're not getting past, you're surcharging in this large junction box. So now you're talking about upsizing this and trying to upsize everything, you kind of start chasing your tail a little bit and you keep going. So the thought is to capture it before it gets there.
So it has to be at that location.
Yeah, you could potentially do something in this field location as well. I don't know the likelihood of the school,
School property.
that's still school property. This area here is school property, but there's nothing there. My thought would be they'd be more likely to,
There's no field, and that's a tree there.
yeah, this is all trees, yeah, there's nothing here. It's not developed, trees haven't been cut down, it's, you know, if there was an area I think that they'd be willing to give up, it would most likely be this area,
Okay, thanks.
okay?
Okay, anybody have questions? No? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, we're gonna have to skip to our public hearings because we are supposed to try to keep them somewhat on target. So we're gonna jump to our first one. During the public hearings, you can speak just on the issue, that's the public hearing for 5 minutes. Again, we will come back later to a public portion where you can talk about anything, but for purposes of the public hearing, it's just on the public hearing. So can I get a motion to continue the public hearing from the April 12th, 2022, a proposed change to the Town Code amending Chapter 31C of the Town Code to authorize electric vehicle charging display kiosk in certain zones? Motion?
I make a motion.
Paul Valentine, second?
I'll second.
Brian Donnie, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so no one signed up to speak. If anyone wants to speak, just put your hand up and we're... This is the charging kiosk that we opened a public hearing on it some time ago. Okay, I think you can come on up. No? 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 Nobody wants to speak? Okay, so on that note, can I get a... Yeah, I guess you weren't here the last time, Frodo. Yeah. You were here? I thought you weren't here. Okay, so this is, just so you know what we're talking about. Basically, if you're ever at the gas station and you see they have the little cameras while you're pumping your gas, they have little kind of displays going on. You know, most of it's advertisements or whatever. We were approached, actually the Stop and Shop was approached about having charging stations which would have similar kiosks, you know, that they would have kind of advertisements and things, you know, for electric vehicle charging stations. So you could go, charge your car, go into ShopRite, come out, watch the ads, not watch the ads. But basically, this company would basically, you know, cover the cost because they're getting the advertising dollars. Our code didn't allow for it. We don't have anything that dealt with this kind of new technology, which I was just telling somebody I was driving down in New Jersey and I saw an actual billboard that had something that was changing, whatever. So anyway, this is to amend our sign code to allow this kind of technology for certain sizes, certain zones, things like that. So I think the actual changes are set forth in the agenda if you're interested in reading it. Okay, so on that, okay, we close it. Anybody else want to? No?
Did we close public comment?
Didn't we make a motion to close? No. Okay, motion to close?
I make a motion to close public comment.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, so designation of lead agency with respect to the proposed local law, we're declaring ourselves to be the lead agency for environmental review. Motion?
I make a motion.
Paul Valentine, second?
I'll second Teresa.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, adopt local law amending Chapter 31C of the Town Code to authorize electrical vehicle charging display kiosk and gas station pump display monitors in certain zones. You want to take on a roll call? Okay.
Councilman Tom Givney,
No.
Councilman Paul Valentine,
Yes.
Councilman Jerry Vitari,
No.
Councilman Brian Donahue,
Yes.
Supervisor Teresa Kennedy.
Yes. Okay. We might as well jump to the other public hearing. Yeah, no parking. Okay, so that's number 7. We're going to open the public hearing. Again, for anybody who doesn't know, this is a recommendation that came out of both from Highway and our Traffic Advisory Board to provide for a no parking zone along the section of Middletown Road and Pearl River, one related to the new construction that's happening up there. 2, people should not be parked there anyway, even without the new construction. So anyway, people shouldn't be parking. It makes it tough to get out. So anyway, so can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so again, no one signed up for it, but if anybody wants to speak. What's that? No. And we could have Jimmy explain it, but basically with the new sidewalks and everything, it's already
Sidewalk.
kind of dangerous, but,
Sidewalks are a lot closer to the street.
yeah. So
And-
it says,
and
it's,
North Middletown Road is never, ever safe to park on.
yeah. So anyway. Okay, so nobody wants to speak, going once, going twice, motion to close?
Motion to close.
I don't know, one of these two gentlemen.
Doesn't matter.
I'll
One,
second.
two. Okay,
Tiffany and Vitale.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 9, lead agency again, determination of the town board to declare itself lead agency in this matter and determines that it's a type 2 action pursuant to SECRA and it won't have a significant environmental impact. Motion? Jerry Vittori, move. Second?
Move. Second.
Tom Diviny, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 10, adopt a local law again to amend the town code chapter regarding vehicles and traffic regulations, and again, it's regarding the South Middletown Road, no parking. Motion?
I'll make a motion, please.
Brian Donahue, second.
Second.
Jerry Vittori, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we can go back and open the public comment. Again, I'm just going to remind everybody, you have 3 minutes. There's a clock up here, so you can watch it as you go. And can I get a motion to open the public portion?
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. I have the first person signed up is Paul Sanguinetti.
I'm here to see what the progress was on the flooding, since I am directly affected by it, as what the Bucci's are. My question is the condition of the roads and the drain basins. The proposal was to add a 30-inch pipe to these drain basins. The drain basins have collapsed 3 times, as I've explained before. I don't know if the drain basins have a 24-inch diameter or a 30-inch diameter. So I'd like to know that, and I would also like to know what a one-year storm is, considering it has flooded twice in the last week. So I would like to be explained what that means, if that's okay.
Yeah, you,
Can,
obviously.
can someone explain it to me?
Yeah, not me.
Okay, just to let you know, it has flooded
You
twice in the
can-
last week.
Eamon would be the
Eamon
best person to
would be-
speak to. He'll be in the back there, and he'll be happy
Can
to
you
explain
explain
it
it
to
to
you.
me?
Man.
What, thought you want me to come out there, or?
No, you go in the back and speak with him. I
Yeah,
don't,
we don't
you
have a
know.
debate during the.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. All right, thank you very much, and I thank
All right,
everybody for
Eamon,
consideration.
why don't you respond to that, buddy?
Well, they can all go out and talk to him if they want to. Whatever they prefer. I mean, you could either,
So a one-year storm is classified as, it's based upon intensity of rain over time.
Okay.
So you can have 0.3 inches of rain in an hour is a one-year storm. 2.3 inches of rain in a 24-hour period is also a one-year storm.
Okay.
If you go to a 10-day period, I don't have the chart in front of me, I didn't remember all the numbers, but I believe it's, 5 or 6 inches of rain in a 10-day period. So there's a chart, I can show you a chart, bring it up online, but it's classified intensity over time. And they do that for 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year.
I got it.
Obviously, if 2-year storm, it's a bigger number. 5-year storm, it's a bigger number.
When was this formula come up with? What year? Is this?
That's a national,
It's just national kind of deal? I mean,
Yes.
I just want to know, because in the last week, it's flooded twice, so, and I'm tired of taking everything out of my garage, putting it in my trailer and taking it up to the top. I
And you're on Villa, or? Yep.
We're right here.
Okay, yeah, no, you have a low, if the last storm, we had 2.33 inches of rain in less than 2 hours. That's going to exceed a one-year storm, and that's, as I stated before, you're at
Could you
that
just-
level of
One more
service.
question, is the diameter of the storm basins that are in the street, is that 24 or 30?
The,
Or do you know?
no, the pipes are diameter, the
Right.
basins are
Yeah, but the
stand,
pipe goes through, what's the diameter of the pipe?
the pipe is, the current is 24 inches. It's
So
not-
how do you take a 30-inch pipe and put it into a 24-inch pipe?
You replace the basin.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Is that part of the project?
Yes,
Oh,
it's not,
okay.
yes,
All
you
right.
do all the,
No, I
yes.
thought we were stopping there.
No, you got to
I'll dig it
replace,
out by hand right now if you want.
no,
All right, thank you.
sure. We're good?
Didn't understand that. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, the next person is Renee Bucci.
So I'm the neighbor. So I actually, I do want to appreciate Eamon and Jim Dean, because this has been ongoing, for those that don't know, since we moved in earlier than 1997, for us 1997. So like just a stack of paperwork on the flooding issues. Like here's an article from 1999, and basically Jim Dean's been with me through this whole time, because Orangetown Highway Superintendent James Dean said the 24-inch pipe was probably sufficient when the homes were built in the early 1970s, but additional construction in the area has increased. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on, has increased water runoff. Now the amount of runoff is too much for the pipe to handle, and instead of traveling out of the town's pipe, it goes into Bucci's backyard and basement. This is 25 years ago. He stated the same thing that he stated tonight, and nothing's been done up to this point. So when they were speaking about the alternatives of the 24-inch pipe or the 30-inch culvert, the culvert has to get replaced. There's no doubt about it. When we talked about even just looking at replacing the pipe on our property, we were told at that point that we would be disturbing the Watercourse and Diversion Act. When we talked about digging deeper into our property to create the ditch that can go a little bit deeper to try to sustain the water, we were told we cannot do anything on our property because it affects the Watercourse Diversion Act. So we are basically, our hands have been tied for 25 years that we could not do anything with our property, even if we wanted to do something self-sufficiently. On top of that, well, I'm saying for us, I'm sorry, Paul, for us, since we moved in, much longer for the Sanguinetti family, who's been suffering with this a lot longer. On top of that, the amount of erosion that has accrued over all of this time. They're saying at this point, 25 years ago, we were told it handles a 25-year storm. I can't even tell you the magnitude. I have a stack of photos, and as Paul just said, this is just like last week. So it's a continuous issue, a continuous problem. I don't even know if a 30-inch culvert is going to do it. When we were looking at it like independently, because our hands were tied, we were told by different engineers that a 36 needs to be for the amount of water, because on top of, and I know I'm coming to the end, 17 Village Drive was allowed by the town to fill in their property level prior to the owners that are currently living there. Homes were built behind us. Homes are built all around, and they used our yards as the basin. So I really implore you to listen to these gentlemen and then maybe even try to take it a step further and really rectify the situation. We've suffered long enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Dave Mart.
Hi, so good evening. I'm a past commander of the John M. Perry American Legion Post. I'm presently their finance officer, and I'm here tonight on behalf of our post, speaking for the 100-plus members who are members of our post and therefore landowners of the land for which we've opened up the commuter lot. As Jim has recapped, we were part of those meetings back in 2008. We heard the voice of the people, for the people in downtown Sparco who want their park back, who wanted to be able to visit those businesses and use their parking area. And that's why we offered up our parking lot, to be able to try to, in the spirit of the community, to do something, positive about it. Jim covered it, but just a reminder. So there were other places evaluated. Our facility was considered the lead for one reason, because the town doesn't have to buy the property. If you don't go with our land, and that's fine, then your options are you're going to need more money because you're going to have to go buy some other facility. That's one of the strengths of leasing our property. I can safely guess you'll probably hear some differing opinions from other people who speak behind me. I'll just point out, so this is State Route 340. It's a state highway. The people who purchased that property did it knowing they were buying on a state highway. My first home was in Garnerville, Main Street, Garnerville. I knew when I did it, I couldn't object to motorcycles and trucks. That's what you get when you buy on a major piece of property. The traffic will be limited. 47 cars at the most, and they come in the morning, leave in the evening. That's no worse than 1 or 2 baseball games worth of traffic for the baseball league that's been operating on our post for over 50 years. So, and it's early in the morning and then once at night. So you have to, I suggest you take that into, into your decision and your risk balance trade-off. And of course, safety improvements can be done on Route 340, and our members would welcome them. Presently, the speed limit bumps up just when you get to the parking area. It also has a passing zone, which is frankly even dangerous for the members of my post and any of the families trying to get in and out of the ballpark. So there are safety improvements that we think could benefit the overall community. Certainly, if it's approved, the town and the village of Sparco, or the hamlet of Sparco, would have the major benefit of this. They could finally get their park back and actually discuss enhancements to it. But in pure candor, I'll point out it also benefits us. We own the 40 acres of land. We've owned it since prior to World War II. We're losing membership as members of the veterans are getting older. We could use the income. And as our membership declines, that puts our long-term financial health at risk. We contribute tens of thousands of dollars to the community every year in direct financial aid, plus the drives and other things we run. We could use this income. If we run into financial risk, we may have to, at some point, face the decision to sell off our 40 acres. And the traffic ramifications of somebody else developing our 40 acres may be far worse than some commuters. Thank you for your time.
James Castagna?
Hi, I'm Jim Castagna, 39 DeLongis Court. I'd like to thank you for appointing me to the Traffic Advisory Board. And also I participated in the Parks Committee with Eric Gordon. And I'd like to say hello to Dennis Troy. Nice to see you here. So the commuter parking facility is more about the park and less about commuting. The park is a special place for a lot of people. And it's a place where people could go and relax and enjoy. And there's a lot of issues that affect our, everyday life. Peaceful and quiet enjoyment is one of the things we have a right as citizens. And also, parkland is protected under state law. It can't be used for any other purpose. So when I heard Jim Jean's presentation, since I was also on the Commuter Task Force in 2008, I've been waiting 12 years, and Jim did not disappoint me. He covered all the bases. He said everything. He said the land is parkland and shouldn't really be used like that. He's provided a plan, and he got the funding, and he followed through. After 12 years, he didn't give up. And I implore the town council to please approve the parking lot right so we could protect our park, so we could have peaceful enjoyment, and that people could drive to the rail trail if they don't live along it and enjoy the beautiful trail that's been built. The restaurants around the rail trail, I like to call them park concessions. So I don't really care, what the parking is used for, as long as it's not overrun by one particular use. And with the commuters, it was unavoidable. So this is a great solution. And the one thing the past Commander Dave did not mention is we have a responsibility for respect. Those monuments have been there for a very, very long time. I remember sitting at that big wooden table here in 2008 when one of the officials asked Murray Cohen, the commander at the time, if he could move the monuments. And that's when the commander offered the land. So this is about respecting our heroes. This is about protecting our parks. This is about keeping Orangetown beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the last person that signed up, so if you want to speak, just raise your hand and you're coming up. Barbara? I have another one. You're good.
Hi, I hope you appreciate I got dressed up for you guys, and put on my good manners, but I didn't put on my Washington suit. I want to begin by just saying there was quite a flurry in my house, and I don't know how to say this except for in the colloquial terms we use. There was a truck stuck in the Beep Beep Tunnel by 40-foot hole. And the bottom line is apparently there's a big, huge sewer pipe that goes through that tunnel. And if that tunnel goes, it will be a huge sewer mess. So I wanted to ask about that, and are we safe? Second thing, and of course that's the water, I think that's part of the water supply too. Second thing I wanted to talk about is something I'm personally more familiar with. On, I think it's April 28th, there's the third public input meeting on the comp plan. So I wanted to say, since the last comp plan was well over 100 pages, would it be possible to have more than 3 minutes to comment and to speak at that meeting? Would the comments be in an open form rather than putting yes and no dots on things we don't understand? I took a dot off when I asked what cluster housing was, and 3 people behind me who had put up dots said, we're going to take our dots off too, because we didn't know that meant multifamily. So can it be like an open comment, or is it going to be very controlled comment? And I also wanted to know if there could be a handout provided to people of the terminology that is not used in common everyday language. A lot of architectural and zoning terminology is not something most people are familiar with. So before we read a plan, we want to know what those words mean. And I guess the fourth thing is, will we have access to reading the plan before we comment on it? Because from what I've seen, it could be quite transformational in moving a lot of high-density homes into our community, which would, make it a little bit more urban, which I think is kind of a Washington initiative, and less rural and suburban with green and things like that. So I guess those were my points. And I could submit them because I actually wrote it out. So I guess that's it. And then about the water problems, I grew up, we always had water in our cellars, and I hope you fix it not only for that area, but for Mooring Drive and Swanican and all the other people who get water in their cellars every time it rains.
Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry. I see the hand. That's all I see, yes. Just if you wouldn't just mind saying your name for the record, that would be great.
I'm going to talk fast so I make it through. My name is Lauren. I am one of the Route 340 Spark Hill residents. On May 5th, 2021, our concerned neighborhood came out to the Palisades Spark Hill baseball field to hear about the proposed parking facility plan. The presentation was given, but it was not well received. This proposal takes away the safety and sanctity of our neighborhood. Albeit on a double yellow road, this section of Spark Hill is still a neighborhood filled with young children who bike to baseball games and such and play with their peers outdoors. This neighborhood has many school bus stops that already have a history of rushing commuters, ignoring the stop signs, going around the buses, and even exiting their vehicles to encourage children to hurry up. Adding a commuter lot would jeopardize the safety of our children, because dropping a commuter lot in this neighborhood would not only change the dynamic of our residential area, but it also introduces commuter buses that we currently do not have and we do not want. The flooding in this area is a known concern for many years. Since the meeting on May 5th, the residents were impacted by the catastrophic flooding of Hurricane Ida. The insides of homes on Route 340 were destroyed, vehicles lost, and the residents are still rebuilding from that storm. The flood waters came rushing through in the middle of the night and created a waist-deep river through our neighborhood. That is without this paved lot. The New York State DEC, in cooperation with the New York State Office of General Services Flood Mitigation and Resilience Report regarding the Sparco Creek, is filled with incredible concerns regarding the environmental impacts and flooding situation prior to Hurricane Ida. It recommends on page 163 that efforts should be made to protect the Sparco Creek from any future development and redevelopment because the areas around the creek are noted to have the most severe flooding issues. Page 168 on the Flood Resiliency Best Practices Code Audit Checklist suggests that towns consider acquisition of these flood-prone lands, particularly where the public would benefit from passive open space. In my mind, this area of trees and wetlands next to the Little League field would fall under this category of beneficial passive open space. I hope that everyone has had the chance to read through this thorough 176-page document completed in January 2022 because it has millions of dollars of flooding mitigation recommendations, and it is very telling about the severity of the flooding along Sparco Creek. This, however, is not a case of one area of Spark Hill versus another. If the businesses in our revitalized town need a solution, then a solution should be sought. However, a solution does not alleviate a problem from one side of town and create new problems and dangers on the other side of town. That's not community-minded. It's unkind, and it's not what this town is known for. Orangetown is an incredible place to raise children. The revitalization of Spark Hill brings new energy to this town, and this commuter project will ruin the investment of our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. The gentleman in the back.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Donald Hardy. I live at 600 Route 340, adjacent to the property of the ball field. My concern is we're going to put a commuter parking lot. The runoff from the parking lot is going to go into the stream. Contrary to the belief, Mr. Dean says the retention pond is going to hold it. Well, we have a retention pond down in the grainy sand pit that doesn't work. All right, now we're going to do this. This is an environmental area. Why do we want to put something that's going to make it even worse? All right, two, you signed a lease for 20 years for 47 spots. What is to stop you from later on in this lease to increase the size of this parking lot? You know, no one has the answers. I understand you need parking for the stores, but we also need to keep the environmental area where it is. But I'd like to see something in writing that says you're not going to increase the size of this parking lot. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Keisha Foley, 6 Van Terrace. We didn't buy on a state route or a busy street. We are residents, and we're entitled to peaceful, quiet enjoyment as well, and should be allowed to let our children walk on the sidewalks and cross the street without getting run over. I actually stand outside before the bus and now have decided to drive my children to school because of the amount of commuters that you people say, coming from Jersey, coming from New York, cutting through Van Terrace. If you go on Google Earth, Van Terrace is a cut-through to come to 9W. I live on Van Terrace. I sit with a bullhorn. I yell at cars. I stop cars myself. I put cones out because we've lost a pet, because you don't want to lose a child. By putting a commuter lot, you're only going to entice more people to cut through Van Terrace, to cut across 340, and it's a speed zone. I have children at the Little League, and even if you don't get a spot, you're better off to carpool there because of the amount of people that cut across the lines and they have the leeway on both sides. We just had some kind of welcoming to the Little League, and people had to park into this non-wetland that you say is not a wetland. People lost cars, had to call tow trucks to get their cars out last week. It's a danger to our children to put this commuter lot to entice more people. I feel bad for the people that are these shop owners or whatnot, but when you look back in the 12 years, how many times have these shops been owned by other people? It has been a constant, and I'll be honest with you, there's not 30 cars parked there for commuting. I have no problem going there, parking, and going on the rail trail. You have a couple of businesses there that have been there for a while, but there's no 30, 40 cars commuting to Manhattan. I commute to Manhattan for 17 years. So stop with with the made-up stuff. You tell great stories as a children's party. Next to the baseball fields where the kids frequently run from current parking lot in and out, riding bikes on 340, what do you do about the bikers? What do you do about the kids that want to ride their bikes? We don't even have any sidewalks there, and you want to increase 50 cars. You keep saying it's in the morning and in the evening. It's not the morning and evening. Are you only having 2 buses? These buses are going to be constant. Go on yourself, red and tan. There's more than 1 bus coming, more than 2 buses coming. You're going to increase more and more commuters. I don't need my road as a cut-through, and I don't need 340 as a new fast track. There's other locations. Look around, okay? You only asked this 12 years ago. You now have over 100 residents that attended your meeting in the baseball field who all were against it. Why not now come and have another meeting where to put this? You have on Oak Tree Road plenty of locations that you could put a commuter lot that has no residential. Once you get from 303 up about a half a mile, there's plenty of space there that you could put a commuter lot. Thank you.
Yes, the gentleman. Yep.
My name is James Cleary. I live at 20 Van Terrace. I support everything the lady just said. I was a defense attorney for 20 years for a major insurance company. 340 is not only a double-line road. It has a passing zone. It has a western broken line down to about the baseball field, and then it has no passing over the Palisades Parkway, and then it has passing on the other side. The problem with the survey that I heard is, yes, there might only be 1,500 or 15,000 cars on 24 hours on 340. None of those surveys I have found in my litigation go into the density and the number of people at the key areas on any road in this country. One is the morning rush hour, when most of your accidents occur, and the other is the evening rush hour, when most of your accidents occur. That's well known. You can look it up anywhere. At the evening rush hour, we're going to have, for at least 3 months or 2 months, Little League. Yeah, both my sons are in Little League. You're going to have the private little slow down warning signs on either side of the road, I guess put out by the Little League teams or the VAW. They're basically no good. The cars have the right to go 45 miles an hour. They also have the right to pass. The last meeting we had there, in which this proposal was really shouted down, you had 6 cyclists coming across at rush hour. So we now have Little League, we now have cyclists, we now have no stop sign at the parking lot, which means people are going to get off the bus and be hell-bent for leather to get home. And the most important and the most dangerous part of any car is the nut behind the wheel. You know people are going to get out of that lot quickly. Plus, you also have the township's liability for assuming the maintenance of that park. It is very close to the creek. I know it's not in the most recent flood zone, but I can see from my own kitchen window the waters of Sparco Creek flooding. I don't even need a binocular. And I go by that area with mucky land, which fits the federal definition of wetlands as underwater 2 weeks out of the year. And that whole area is with hoarfrost or ice. So the township's going to take that liability on. Now, someone's going to say, like the township attorney, well, there's sovereign immunity. I don't know if sovereign immunity will protect the town for what is basically an aid to a profit bus line. I just don't know. And I don't know where the township is going to get the extra money for that maintenance day in and day out, for ice and snow and everything else. So I don't think the township should take on the liability of that lot for only 47 people. Plus, if there's county money, we're going to have to open up the permits to everyone in the county. It's going to have to be publicly advertised. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else who hasn't had a chance to? Oh, okay.
Hello, my name is Heinz Bodenstab. I live at 570 Route 340, and I 100% agree with all my neighbors. You know, I've lived on this property for 22 years. I've been through 3 floods and 4 hurricanes. Sandy did not produce water, but in my house. But I've had 3 floods where my entire downstairs had to be redone. After Hurricane Irene, we were mandatorily made to get flood insurance. Just the other morning, I'm an iron worker in New York City. I've been commuting to New York my entire career. It's been about 30 years. And I left for work, and, my fence was gone in the backyard again because it was on the water. And now I'm leaving for work with that in my head again, and it's so stressful, to bring up, and I feel for my neighbors in Blauvelt, with their issues, but nothing has been done about this in 22 years. No talk about dredging, no talk about doing anything to help us with this flood problem. And it's been a scar on my house, my family, my kids that have been through it 3 times, and now on top of that, with the proposed lot, on 340, man, 340 is a mess. The road is got potholes, cracks, no sidewalks. The sidewalk in front of my house is destroyed. It's all different levels, it's unsafe. I feel the money should be, put out there to fix these roads. My parents live on Washington Street. That road is like a minefield. I get with the commuters. I wasn't a mass transit guy, and I still am not. But I did take that bus at one point in my career because I had a job right next to the Port Authority. And that parking lot is not full. It wasn't back then, and that was 15 years ago. I took the 555 to the city, and I came back, and there was always spots there. For the business owners, I don't see many of them, complaining. And I live in Spark Hill, and I drive by all the time, and I use the rail trail. I've never had a problem. My family's never had a problem with it. And I just think we could definitely, which has been said, find a better location. Not 340. We've had enough problems on that road, and the commuter lot's just going to make more problems. So why don't we try to fix what's broken before we add more problems? Thank you.
Anybody else who hasn't had a chance to speak?
How you doing? My name's Bob Carlone. I live at 573 Route 340. I've been there for 20 years. I've been in Orangetown for 35 years. This is my first meeting up here because I've always been pleased. You do a great job. The services are great. No complaints. But there is a complaint on Route 340. It's a very dangerous road. My kids played at that park for years, the Veterans Park, and it's very, you got to keep the kids off the road there. There's people doing 45, 50, 60 miles an hour there. It's very dangerous, especially when they have events there. So you have to keep an eye on the kids. There's sometimes a couple of hundred kids running around that parking lot. It's very dangerous. There's no shoulder at all the way down 340, so there's nowhere to go. There's swales along 340, which means there's flooding there. That's why they put the swales there, because there's flooding there all the time. And there's no shoulders, and the speed limit's way out of whack, because as soon as you get into Spark Hill, it turns to 45, and then when you get back into Orangeburg or Palisades, it's back down to 30, 35. But only by us is it 45. And, there's a lot of residential people there, and it's dangerous. There's school buses. I've witnessed it myself in the morning. School buses, you stop behind a school bus, and people are passing the buses while they're stopped, and there's kids trying to get on the bus. There's no sidewalks. Part of the road, about 300 feet up from the firehouse, north of the firehouse, there's a piece of road missing. It's been missing for a long time. Someone put a couple of stakes there with a warning. A piece of the road's missing. It's a dangerous place. Now, if you're going to put buses in there, running around with kids in the area and traffic, and it's not only going to be 2 or 3 buses in the night, 2 or 3 buses in the morning. You're going to have vans coming in there, dropping people off, so they can get the bus and not have to pay the toll over the George Washington Bridge. And at night, they're going to be picking people up. So you're going to have a lot of flow through traffic also with people dropping off and picking up. It's not just going to be parking there. So you're really going to, change the whole outside of the area, it's really going to change dramatically because it's going to probably double or triple the traffic. And forget about the bicyclists. I mean, sometimes I can't even pull out of my driveway for 5 minutes because from April to November, there's hundreds of bicyclists coming by and there's no shoulder and they're in the middle of the road and it's going to be dangerous. So, you know, things have to be done there that it might take years to fix before you even consider putting a bus through there. But, you know, I just thought I'd come up and let you know from observing it for 20 years. And like I said, I'm happy with that. All the other services in Orangetown are great. But I don't think that's the right thing to do is put that commuter lot there because it's going to be a lot worse than you think. And it's just going to be turn into something that we really don't want there. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you. Anybody else? If you have not had a chance to speak, come on up.
Hello, my name is Eva Morales. I live on 574 Route 340. Although I am new, relatively new, just under 5 years to the Sparco neighborhood, I have to, like, without a doubt, agree with all of my neighbors. I feel like I'm affected on multiple fronts that have been brought up, from a parental aspect with the traffic issues with the children. I live right across from Lauren and have witnessed on countless occasions people refusing to stop. There's enough traffic on it as is. There's no way putting a bus stop and a bus commuter lot on that road is not going to negatively impact the flow and the sheer amount of traffic on that road. Throw in another topic, physical issues with the actual roadway. I've got a massive, massive pothole in front of my driveway that fills with water every time it rains. It's been like that. It's only gotten worse. The broken part of the street further down towards the firehouse. And then one of my main issues since I've moved in is the flood issue. I've got an easement that runs in front of my home. There has never been so much as a look at it. I had my home impacted by Ida in September. I'm still dealing with the issues from that. And then just Thursday was not a hurricane. It was just heavy rain. I had 3 feet of water in the back of my yard. I cannot build anything. I cannot put a playground for my children. I have 3 children with a 4th on the way. My neighbor Hines, his fence is falling apart because of the constant flow of water. I have downed trees on the town side of my property line that falls into my property. It looks like a swamp. And there's been no attempt to have a resolution for the residents regarding the flooding. There's no way that adding a commuter lot isn't going to affect the environment. There's already trees that have been cut in the proposed lot area. Adding the concrete or asphalt or whatever, there's no basin to catch extra water. All that runoff that already exists that cannot drain because the areas are wetlands is going to end up in the creek and end up in everybody's house on that side of the street. So I really do recommend that something be done for that issue before you start considering putting something else that's permanent there, because there's no way it's not going to affect it. There was a survey that was released regarding flood mitigation in January that Lauren mentioned. The numbers are completely off with that. Like I said, on Thursday I had 3 feet of water. The proposed 50-year existing flood depths was like a foot. So it's just something to consider. There's a lot more issues there. A commuter lot wouldn't be a good idea right now.
So everyone knows that Route 340 is a state highway, right? So as far as broken roads and potholes, are you going to the state website and complaining? Because they're not, they have to know about it. So if you were not able to, you can certainly reach my highway department, who will reach out to the contacts at DOT, but there's no reason, that should be an easy fix anyway.
So would that be done since it's brought up now?
And-
They're here, they can relay.
Listen, we're not going to get back and forth, but a quick email to would go a long way. We have a lot going on, but do you want to speak? Okay, come on.
Hi, my name is Michelle Shea, and I live at 584 Route 340 in Sparco. So I'm right up from the Legion Field. I do back up to the Sparkill Creek. So we moved in there in 1998. 1999, we had the first flood, over 3 feet of water in the first floor of my home. It's not a basement, it's the first floor of our house. Took out a 4-foot pool, took out all my neighbors' houses. We're not talking about a little water in a basement. We're talking about the first floor of our home. And the town comes through with their trucks and other 18-wheelers trying to come through up 340 because it goes through our home, across the street, and up Van Terrace. So I'm sure most of you know it's been a problem going on for years. And I'm talking like 23 years. So all my neighbors, a lot of them have been impacted last year again, so we've been through 4. So last year again, they're just getting rebuilt. They're just getting their checks back from their insurance companies and FEMA and all the extra money we have to pay out every year for the insurances. I mean, it's just not fair. It's not. I respect the town of Sparkill and all my neighbors that live around there, and it's nice that everyone wants to go to a nice, beautiful place, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the rail trails, but we're not safe in our own homes. You don't understand. I got a 6-foot fence in my backyard, and the water's over it. And then last week, like she said, just this past week, you know, it's all the way into my fenced-in area, and that's, like she said, over 3 feet back there. Like, I hear these other people in other places, and I know they're hit very hard too, but you're coming up with solutions or different things for them. We've heard nothing. There's no solutions for us. And they built, again, on William Street. They're putting more houses in. We get more runoff, and now they're going to do the lot. They took down trees already back there. There's runoff. If you build that lot, we're going to be underwater. We pay taxes too, and it's not fair that we're not safe in our own homes. So that's all I have to say. Just consider that. It's not fair.
Thank you.
For our children, our pets, our environment.
Anybody else who has not had a chance to speak?
Peter Lynch, I live in Lake Drive. The lady was right. You raise the level of the parking lot, houses on William Street, she's going to get washed away. You guys care? Palisades Little League, kids, mothers pull up with their kids and they let them out of the car and the kids are running. If one kid gets killed, are you going to be responsible if you vote for this? You don't want it on your hands. Just find someplace else, all right? You got bicyclists, you got houses, you got commuters. Go somewhere else with your parking lot, okay? Don't have it in your hands that somebody's going to get injured or maimed because it's cheaper. You, a 20-year lease, how long is 20 years? What happens in 20 years? The Legion sells the property or whatever, or do whatever they want with it, and then where are you gone? Where's all our money gone then? You know? 20 years is a long time. It goes by fast. And Mr. Dean, he had his little presentation about cancellation of reservations in Sparkill and the restaurants. Who cancels a reservation at 1 o'clock in the day or 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the day? You know? That place clears out 5 o'clock. You can get plenty of parking spots for your restaurants and stuff. Okay? I use the trail all the time. But where you're going to put this lot is not the way to go. All right? Thank you.
I think we got everybody. Anybody else who has not had a chance to speak that wants to speak? I think we got everybody. No. No? Okay. We have a motion to close. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we didn't workshop. Do you want to go and workshop them quick or just vote on them? We don't have to. Yeah, there's nothing really. Okay, so number 12, this has to do with the dissolution of the Village of South Nyack. So basically, we're working on getting rid of some of their codes and replacing them with ours. I don't know, Jane, you want to just do a quick? Oh, I'm sorry, we're not voting on the parking lot or anything tonight, so, I mean, you're more than welcome. It was just a presentation, so you're welcome to stay, but we're not going to be voting on anything related to the parking lot tonight. Sorry. But you're, more than welcome to hang out with us. Jane, you just, oh, I skipped 11? Oh,
Good evening.
sorry, thank you, good catch there. Okay, sorry, Jane, don't go anywhere yet. Well,
Don't go
I
there yet?
skipped one, number 11.
Oh, yeah, number 11.
Yeah, they're all kind of related, but,
Yeah. I thought that's what you were asking me about, number 11, anyway, but go ahead, I'll wait.
you can just explain it real quick, because they don't care, no one cares about it.
Okay, so number 11 is to authorize the building permit fees. Right now, we are working with two separate schedules. And it's so hot, and we don't want to close the door.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Thank you.
They came out the last one, but I think they're afraid. The woman that got up from a business, she tried to, they got,
Okay, so I'll be quick. For number 11,
yeah, I think the problem is with COVID and stuff now, okay. Okay.
right, good? Okay, for number 11, right now, we're working with two separate building permit fee schedules since the dissolution of South Nyack, which is making it almost impossible. We actually have to keep a separate spreadsheet. So that's number 11. So we have to officially make a resolution to pass that our fees that we have as our standard town fees will apply to all applications within South Nyack. So that's number 11. We can't take their fees into our system. It's very difficult, and we've been working with finance on how to keep track of it. This will make our life a little bit easier, and then everybody's on the
Yeah,
same
absolutely. It'd be
pay
chaos,
schedule.
but having two different fees, you know.
And then the amendment,
Well, we're just 12, we're just setting the public hearing
12.
date, I guess, right? So just
right, we're
explain
setting a public hearing date. We have to, again, because they dissolved, we had to absorb their code, and we're enforcing their code right now, which is very complicated. Much like two separate fees, we're enforcing two separate codes. So the idea, and we've been working with the town attorney's office, to repeal certain sections of South Nyack's code that have to do with administration and enforcement for building department purposes and land use. And we're going to adopt another article under Chapter 43. It'll be Article 18, which will be a section dedicated to the South Nyack properties. And in doing that, we're actually bringing in their map. Fortunately, all of their zoning districts are delineated completely different than our zoning tables. So we have no crossover. They don't have an R15 like we have an R15. So there's no crossover. So we're able to take sections of their code and adopt it right into ours, and it'll become part of Chapter 43, which is our zoning code. That's the brief, unless
That's
anybody
it.
has questions.
No,
Yep.
that's it, I think I got it. Okay. So number 11, again, is authorizing the building permit fees as set by the town board, basically to match the South Nyack with the Orangetown. Paul Valentine,
second.
Brian Donio, in favor? Aye. Number 12 is setting the public hearing date for May 24th. Again, this is to change some of the zoning code and to make it consistent with ours in the town of Orangetown.
I'll make a motion.
Brian, move. Jerry, second. All in favor? Aye. Number 13, declaration of intention of the town board to serve as the lead agency pursuant to SECRA. Again, with regard to local law to amend Chapter 43 regarding the hamlet of South Nyack for GML review. Can I get a motion? Move. Tom Divany, second. Jerry Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
So number 14, just to give you what this is, we had the memorandum of agreement with the developer chosen for H&A. They don't care, they're like, whatever. It had an expiration date, so this is extending it because we have our fingers crossed that there will be a letter of intent signed imminently. So we're extending it to remove the expiration date. Okay, so that's what number 14 is. Okay, Tom Divany, second.
I'll second.
Brian Donahue, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so 15, we have to fill in the blanks. It's Calgi Construction Management. We just wait, Calgi, C-A-L-G-I, Construction Management. We were just waiting for our department heads to confirm. They met with them, and they're good. The architects and everything had met with them earlier, and they were the lowest bidder. And so, again, if you see, it's Calgary, and it's for, in the amount of $585,700. You see at the bottom there, we have to fill in the blanks in the now therefore it be resolved. The dollar amount is $585,700. $700. $585,700. Okay, everybody's good? So this is basically accepting the proposal to hire Calgary Construction Management for the construction matter for the services for the new town hall. You want to do a roll call?
No, I'm just going to vote. no.
Okay, okay. Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Brian Donahue, second. Jerry Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Nope. Nope.
4 yeses, 1 no.
At least he's consistent.
Thank you.
Number 16, do we have anybody here on this one? Accept the petition, request for zone change and direct circulation and proposed local law. This is for Gatto Lane, for Toll Brothers. I don't know, I guess this is just to send it out, I guess, right? Accept the petition and we'll send it out?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion?
Move.
Tom Divany, second.
I'll second.
Paul Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's accept the petition. 17 is setting the public hearing date on the proposed zone change for Gatto Lane, setting so May 24th at 7:10. Yep,
I'll make a motion.
okay. Brian, second.
Yeah.
Jerry, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, authorizing subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of an additional $586,000 in bonds of the town of Orangetown. Now, this one, I don't know if we want to get Jimmy's issue again? The bond 118, so I think it's,
Do we need to do a roll call on this? We need to do roll call on these,
yeah,
right?
yep. Because I think we agree, if you look at the top, we had we had already. 18, unless, Jeff, you want to do it, that's fine too. I just know that there was some, we got money, grant money for some of them, and we're bonding the rest of it. Jim had enough excitement for the night, we're going to let Jim.
So there's five basic highway projects that we've received grants over, and they've started these projects anywhere from 4 to 7, 8 years ago. And what happens is, obviously, some of these either had, increases in price from when we started. All of these are grant matches, so this is to fulfill our needs to provide the additional monies to complete the match portion for these various different projects. But there are 5 highway projects, and Jim can go over what they are. The other items are the pavement preservation program, and then there's one bond for the pickleball court as well. So that's everything we talked about 2 weeks ago.
Jim, I just got a question. Which
So,
one's?
yes.
The Retention Basin, what is that?
That's just been completed. That's to help prevent
Here.
That's
flooding.
what I thought it was, all right,
Help prevent flooding on the Sparco Creek.
all right, thank you.
Actually, the only thing we can do with the creek right now is try to find places to hold water back. And that, fortunately, we were able to get those 6 acres from Homes for Heroes. And then we got the EFC money to build it. And now it's actually complete and functioning. And it's working really well. It's not solving the whole problem, but the Sparkill Creek is one little bit at a time, wherever you can find someplace.
Yeah.
It seems to be working well.
It's helped-
Down at the Penn, it seems
Yeah.
to have slowed down. It used to get brutal on
Yeah.
that turn in the libraries.
That and replacing the bridge. We took that from a 19-foot bridge to a 40-foot opening, right on the bend.
Yeah,
That's helped.
yeah.
But still a tremendous amount of water that comes through there, and the creek itself flattens out. So it's in the valley. If you're built next to it, the water comes up.
Yeah.
Difficult.
Bless you.
Rick?
So I'm sorry, any other ones here? Middletown Road is the
Middletown Road.
Yeah. Pedestrian project that we're working on.
Yeah.
Each one of these that we have listed here, we actually, in the memo, sent that we have town board resolutions going over the year that approve the next step.
What is,
Happens to be, we have a number of them coming together at one time.
what is the time frame on Middletown Road? Because I keep getting caught in that part, that gas station, forgetting there's only one way out.
Actually, they're doing pretty good. They have not talked to us about extension, and I
right.
think they believe to be done by summer.
I got caught in there today.
They're doing pretty well. And they haven't run into anything that slowed them up. And I've already told them, and I think everybody should realize, they did a tremendous job on the St. Patrick's Day parade. There was no trip point, there was no mess, there was nothing to be concerned about. They put a lot of extra effort into making sure that, because they knew how important that was to us. So, he was a good, very good contractor, and came through with us. Could have been a much more difficult time with trips and falls and every other thing.
All right.
It didn't slow those two down, they were in cars.
Yeah. Perfect from the convertible.
Yeah, you look,
Right, Rose?
you look good for my office.
Yeah. Me and Brian, we took care of it up front.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay, very good.
Thank you,
Okay, so
Jim.
number 18,
Okay.
authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of an additional $586,000 bonds, and this is related to the cost of replacement of the traffic signals in and for said town of Orangetown. So, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Those things are roll call.
We'll do a roll call when we get there. And Jerry, you second? Okay, on a roll call?
Councilman Tom Devaney,
Yes.
Councilman Paul Valentine,
Yes.
Councilman Jerry Vitari,
Yes.
Councilman Brian Donahue,
Yes.
Supervisor Teresa Kennedy.
Yes. 19, authorizing the construction of a pickleball court at Veterans Park in and for the town of Orangetown at a maximum estimated cost of $250,000, and authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of $250,000 bonds of said town to pay the cost thereof. I'm going to let Mr. Pickleball Promiser make the motion over here.
Moved.
Second. The other pickleball, right, he doesn't get to vote anymore. So
Maybe
who's
we'll
the-
name it the Dennis Troy Pickleball
Pickleball
Court.
courts. Okay, second, who's seconded? Jerry, okay. Do we need to do another another roll call?
Yeah.
Councilman Tom Devaney,
Yes.
Councilman Paul Valentine,
Yes.
Councilman Jerry Vitari,
Yes.
Councilman Brian Donahue.
Yes.
Your mom would be looking
Yes.
for you.
If I voted no, my mother would be waiting at my door when I got home.
She would. I would call your mother and say,
I'd be
Teresa
disowned.
voted against pickleball court.
Okay, number 20, authorizing the reconstruction and resurfacing of roads in and for the town of Orangetown, Rockland County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $2,338,460, and authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of bonds in that amount. Okay. Motion?
Moved.
Tom Divany, second. Jerry Batari, on a roll call. Meanwhile, these people should be sitting here seeing all the money we're spending on roads. They're telling us about potholes and stuff. Look at, we're,
Right.
state of New York, I'm like, I said it.
Not our roads. We can't fix it.
Councilman Tom Devaney,
Yes.
Councilman Paul Valentine,
Yes.
Councilman Jerry Vitari,
Yes.
Councilman Brian Donahue,
Yes.
Supervisor Teresa Kennedy.
Yes. You want to see the worst roads, 59 is like, 59, it's horrible. Okay, 21. Authorizing the North Middletown Road pedestrian improvement project in and for the town of Orangetown, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $2,446,547, and authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of $699,541 bonds to pay the part of the cost thereof. Motion?
Motion.
Jerry Vitari, second. Brian Donahue,
Aye.
on a roll call.
Councilman Tom Devaney,
Yes.
Councilman Paul Valentine,
Yes.
Councilman Jerry Vitari,
Yes.
Councilman Brian Donahue.
Yes.
Supervisor Teresa Kennedy.
Yes. Okay, 22, authorizing traffic signal replacement at the intersection of William Street and Central Avenue, and for the town of Orangetown. Okay, the subject, the issuance of 63,200 bonds of said town to pay for the cost of the issuance. Tom Diviny move.
I'll second.
Brian Donahue second. On a roll call.
Councilman Tom Tiffany,
Yes.
Councilman Paul Valentine,
Yes.
Councilman Jerry Vitari,
Yes?
Councilman Brian Donahue.
Yes.
Supervisor Teresa Kennedy.
Yes. Oh, we could, Lord, okay. Okay, 23 is authorizing replacement of culverts at 400 Route 303 and in for the town of Orangetown at a maximum cost of $648,597 and authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of 336,678 bonds of said town to pay part of the cost thereof. Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Brian Donahue, second. Jerry Vitari, on a roll call.
Councilman Tom Tiffany,
Yes.
Councilman Paul Valentine,
Yes.
Councilman Jerry Vitari,
Yes?
Councilman Brian Donahue,
Yes.
Supervisor Teresa Kennedy.
Yes. Number 24, authorizing a bioretention basin and stormwater wetlands project in and for the town of Orangetown at a maximum cost of $2,017,000 and authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of 392,155 bonds of said town to pay part of the cost thereof. Motion.
Moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Paul Valentine, on a roll call.
Councilman Tom Tiffany,
Yes.
Councilman Paul Valentine,
Yes.
Councilman Jerry Vitari,
Yes?
Councilman Brian Donahue.
Yes.
Supervisor Teresa Kennedy.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so 25 is accepting and authorizing the supervisor to execute the Craig grant, which is the 25,000 we're getting, the first 25,000 related to the dissolution implementation. So that's basically, I think we're paying for one of the employees we hired from the village and some, and LaBerge to do the code changes. So that's, we're getting 25,000 from New York State. Okay, so can I get a motion? Jerry Vitari, Tom Divany, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 26, this is the glasses, approved and settle a claim for $589 with Mr. and Mrs. Fernandez and with Cigna as the subrogor. It's related to a car accident. You're not voting for it? Can I get a motion?
Move.
Tom Divany, second. Jerry Vitari, you need a roll call there, Brian?
No, I'm fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
I know. There must have been some fancy glasses, is all I'm going to say. Number 27, authorizing the town attorney to sign a settlement on a tax certiorari with Nyack Medical Center. And I'm sure we always ask, but Tom Divany, move. Second. Jerry Vitari, all in favor?
Aye.
And we always check with the school district, right? I know we ask, but that's always just. Number 28, award the bid for the athletic court crack repair to Sport Tech Acrylics from Brewster. Motion.
I'll make the motion.
Brian Donahue, second. Jerry Vitari, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 29, approve lend assistance to the 2022 Greek Festival of the St. Constantine's Church.
Oh, it's a good time.
That's always a good time, good food, good stuff, okay. Move, Tom Divany, second, Paul Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve lend assistance to the Provo Chamber of Commerce 5K on Saturday, April 23rd, from 8 to 1. Motion,
I'll make a motion.
second?
It's a businessman, that's all.
I didn't know there was a chamber. All right, I'll make a motion.
He's trying to stay away from the Chamber of Commerce. He's afraid of getting into a lawsuit. All in favor?
Aye.
True.
Okay, 31, we have accept, receive, and file documents in the clerk's office. You listed, itemized there. Motion?
Move.
Tom Divany, second. Jerry Vitari, all in favor?
Aye.
Now he wants to pay for this.
Okay, tonight's audit consists of 3 warrants for a total of $1.1 million. The first warrant had 23 vouchers for $83,000. Items of interest, number 1, CSEA Employee Benefit Fund, $32,000 for CSEA dental benefits. The second warrant had 65 vouchers for $189,000. Items of interest, number 4, the Department of Environmental Conservation, $13,000 for a sewage plant environmental fee. The third warrant had 184 vouchers for $805,000. Number 5 and 6, the applied golf contracts. Number 12, Ferraro Construction, $134,000 for the Route 303 culvert project. Number 13, Fleet Pump and Service Group, $33,000 for a replacement sewer pump. Number 17, Coister Associates, $31,000 for a replacement sewer pump. Number 19, O'Connor Davies, $75,000 for the town audit. Number 23, State Comptroller, $25,000 for justice fines. And number 25, Verdi Electric, $69,000 for traffic signal replacement. Any questions on the audit?
No. Motion to accept the audit?
Moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we do have to go into executive session to talk about personnel-related matters. Any litigation or anything we need? No? No. Okay, so, look at that, beautiful, no adjournments. Okay, motion to go into executive session?
I'll
Second?
second.
Who said second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay. We will hopefully be quick. We will hopefully be quick.